Hey everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Sky Capital and this is my very first YouTube video, so thank you for tuning in. Today I'm breaking down my stock portfolio, both my taxable account and my Roth IRA. In total, I've built up to just over 13,000, more like 13,500, and I'll show you exactly what I'm holding, why I chose these stocks, and how this fits into my long-term investing strategy. My taxable account currently sits around $12,400 and my Roth IRA is about $1,200. That's my foundation, about 13,700 invested into companies and ETFs that I believe in long term. The goal here isn't quick flips, it's building wealth over time through consistent investing. In my Roth IRA, which is all about tax-free long-term growth, I'm focusing more on capital growth and stability. It's sitting at about $1,200 right now with just a little position in queue with just about 2 shares. My Roth IRA strategy is about compounding the capital growth, and I'll never pay off the taxes on when I withdraw in retirement since it is non-tax deductible when you hit the age of 59 and a half. In my taxable account, here's what I own. I own VU. It's an S&P 500 ETF. I have about 5.2 shares of this, and it gives me exposure to the 500 biggest companies in the United States. It's my foundation for stability and diversification. I also invest in Visa, almost 7 shares of it. Visa is a leader in payments, and I see a cashless transactions only growing worldwide because honestly, the world is going more tech. That's also why I invest more towards Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. I really just invest in more or less tech, the Fortune 500 companies of the United States, and financials, especially with Dave. Dave has been kind of like rift rafty lately, and that's really okay because let's go check it out here. The 52-week high was sitting at about $286, and the 52-week low, oh, it is $31. I did not know that as of right now. Okay, cool. So yeah, I started buying at around $210, yeah, somewhere around there. This is when it really crashed. I wasn't investing in it at this time. And then as I was investing, it got up to here, and then I started buying right here again because I've just really learned as an investor, you unfortunately just have to buy at the dip. And I'm not trying to talk like a professional investor. I am by no means a licensed professional. I am just giving my 2 cents on how I think investing should go and why I personally do it. With all that being said, that brings me over to Amazon. I have just about 10 shares of Amazon sitting over about 10 shares, and it's 18.41% of my portfolio diversity. And I'm sitting about $137 return so far, which isn't terrible because if we go and look at the year to date, it's April 9th. It's always April 9th. Look, it was super low right here. This is when I was buying, like just right here. It's been a slow grower, pause, but it has been, and it's been, slowly growing as the months have gone on through 2025. My average share cost is sitting at about $214, pretty much $215, and I wouldn't see myself buying until it dipped below $200, maybe 205, but probably $200 because I'm just waiting for like more or less a dip in the market so I can just get the stocks that I want at a decent price. It's pretty inflated right now. I would not recommend buying. Another stock I'd like to show you guys that I also have 10 shares of would be Google. I have about $185 average cost for my stock in Google, and I have $2,100 invested in it with just about a $250 return right here, 30% return, which is nice because if we go and look at the year to date, it's always April 9th right here. It was so low, like this was such a bargain, and I was pretty much just like buying throughout this little dip right here from here, how do I do it, here all the way to here. I was pretty much just buying and trying to, be as greedy as I can because I really just wanted to own as much Google as possible. To be fair, Google is like the backbone of our internet. It is a collection platform. It has search, YouTube, and Google Cloud. Around that, you got Android, Maps, Chrome, and Gmail. Play, which is what I mean by that is Google Play, and then you have other bets like Waymo. The core engine is ads, search, and YouTube, while cloud is the enterprise growth leg. So honestly, guys, this is a very good stock for the future, but just make sure to, buy in at a reasonable price, decent price, so you just get a better cost average and intrinsic value for the stock that you purchase. This stock, Dave, right here, I'm kind of iffy about. I started buying at about $202. I know it says my average cost is $210, which it probably is, but I remember buying around $202, just like low dip area. If we go to the 3 to month chart, I remember buying right after the dip right here in like the 180 mark, and I have about 850 bucks in there, a negative return, which is fine because I was sitting at like a negative $100 return on this like about a week ago, a week and a half ago. So I'm chilling. I have 4 shares of this, and the reason why I really invested in this one is because this is kind of my gambling stock. Not gonna lie, I like to have 4 to 5 reliable stocks that I invest in. It's just to manage risk, and then I like to have one that is risky because you never know. Sometimes you do got to take the risk. I have almost a rack in there, and I have 4 shares, 6.84% of my portfolio diversity, which I would like to see get a little lower, as I add more to the VU and Google and Amazon Visa. But it's all going to work out in the end. I hope in a year I'll have about a $300 return in this stock. And last but not least, I have Microsoft. It's the king of enterprise, cloud, and AI integrations, and its steady dividend is really what separates it from other stocks that we have out here. A lot more when it was around like $389, I was not buying, which I should have bought, and I could have put an extra 500 in there and probably had like a $400 to $500 return right now. But it's okay. I'm waiting for it to get cheaper because I started buying around like 400 to be honest, and I just kept buying up until 415, and now it's at 502. Let's go back to the year to date. I was Look guys, something funny. I was around this time I was telling myself, nah, Microsoft's not going to go up. Why would I purchase it? I would have gotten it at a fucking bargain if I purchased it at this price, which sucks, but you live and you learn. I'm glad to have, a $270 return in it and be able to get it at a $415 cost, but it's okay. I have about 3 shares of this stock, which I'm proud of, and it's about 12% of my portfolio, which I actually like that. I think that's a pretty decent stake for my portfolio, as young as it is. I hope you enjoyed my first YouTube video. If you guys enjoy these stock videos, financial content, make sure to comment down below, leave a like, and I just want to see how far we could take this. At the end of the day, this is going to be a hobby. I just want to document my portfolio progress as I go on because I just want to keep everything transparent, give advice to others that may need it, although I am not a financial advisor, and get some feedback from other people, that happen to come along the way. But with all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your week, and you take care.